It's Vintage Thursday today, even though I did this video on Wednesday. By the time it gets uploaded, it will be Thursday, so we'll call it Vintage Thursday. Another old find. This is a video game console, one of the very first ones that there was. Yes, I'm talking Pong. I found a Pong game that actually works. We're going to go through it and take a look inside it and try a few of the games out. Check it out. Well, this is my latest little find. If you thought the last video game that I showed you in the previous video was old, well, this one's just a little bit older. In fact, this one's so old that you cannot use it unless you're using a CRT TV, and I'll show you why. I've never had one of these. I had one similar to this when I was a kid. I remember very well consoles very much like this, and I just found one. I don't know if it works or not. It has 4 controllers, 2 that are permanently attached to it, and I have 2 more controllers so that you can actually have a 4-person hockey game. Or 4-person, well, I guess it would be hockey because squash is 2 people, as is tennis. And I've got, of course, the gun. Everybody had to have the gun, both the rifle adapter and the handgun where you can actually shoot, and that's why you need a CRT, because you have to shoot at a flying spot. This unit is so old that it does not have audio video outputs. No. This one just has a single output TV out. It's channel 3 or channel 4. Since this TV is not tuned for 3, I haven't got 3 programmed in, we'll set it to channel 4. And it comes with this switch box that you connected up. Back in the day when TVs did not have coaxial input, they had 300 ohm. If you had cable TV, you had a 300 ohm or 75 ohm to 300 ohm adapter on it. So you would screw your cable TV there, plug the game in. If you had an antenna with 300 ohm, you would put it there, and then this goes to the TV. So in order to connect this to the TV, I need to use a 300 ohm adapter. So let's connect this up in all its vintage glory and see if it works. So first I have to connect the 300 ohm to 75 ohm matching transformer. That will plug into this 75 ohm cable, which connects to the game through the convenient RF output on the back. That will connect to the game input. Switch that to game, and this will connect to the back of the television. Just like that. Okay, I've got a power adapter. We'll plug in the adapter, turn the unit on, and see what it does. Plug my adapter in over here because it's a big transformer. Power. Let's try practice. Oh dear, it doesn't work. What a surprise. Is it the switch? Be the switch that's no good, but there's no output. I am on channel 4. Well, it beeps. The beep actually comes out of this. There'll be no sound, I don't think, on the TV itself. What's going on? I wonder if this switch is kind of foobarred. Oh, okay, I think the switch might be foobarred. As I say, there is no sound. The sound all comes from the unit itself. I don't know which one of these works for which one I'm going to use, the left or the right. Let's just try the one on that's plugged, that's wired into the left. player 1. And we are going to take this thing apart, by the way. But I just wanted to show this thing off in all its glory. Let's see here. Which one does which? Does one of these move something? This one here moves it. I can see my paddle right there. So if I push serve, I have to... It's not as easy as it looks, especially with controls that are jumping all over the place. But yeah, this is what we used to. This was our entertainment. We had hours and hours of entertainment of Pong. And that was our entertainment. It also does tennis. I guess with probably works the same. It's just got a green background instead of a red, with lots of interference from something. But you get the general idea. And then if you got it right in the right spot, you could okay, now it's going to go to 2. You got to have 2 people now, you see. And you could have, I guess you could have 4 player on this too. But one person would bat it one way and the other person would bat it the other, and you could actually play a game of tennis yourself, one on each hand. Oh, you see. Okay, enough of this silliness. Let's see if we can fix that picture. Let's take this sucker apart. So with hockey, if you're in 2-player mode, you can have a goalie and a forward, and vice versa. And you know, see, he shoots, he scores. Hours of fun. And to think that we used to waste hours and hours and hours with these games back in the, I don't know, 1970s, I guess. It was probably about 75 or so when I had mine. I say mine wasn't this fancy though. Mine was even more basic than this. Mine had just 2 knobs on the control, like on the console, instead of having a pot on each end that you twisted back and forth like this. It actually had dials, and the 2 of you, if there was 2 people playing, you had to sit there and twist the dials on the unit itself. Squash. Again, I guess I have to reset it. Squash, you've got 2 people here, right? And I guess that's what the mistake I made. I didn't hit the reset button. You have to reset it when you select hockey. Squash. Target practice. In this case, you try to shoot at the moving square. To do the shooting game, there was both a moving target and a stationary. Basically, you had to point the gun at the square, and you have to do this in a dark room because it's going to detect the light from the. And this probably would work if I plugged it into my plasma, because I don't think this one's using ray tracing or anything that accurate. It's just looking for the difference between white and black. Like if I point it away from the spot and pull the trigger. I've been playing with this, as you can see. Let's just reset. How do we start this over? There we go. Okay. So if I point it away from and pull the trigger, it tells me I've missed. Right? I've missed one. If I point it at the square and pull the trigger, oops, I missed it again. Oh, I got one there. See? Right, 1. Now I got 2 out of 3. This is your attempts, and this is how many you've got. If I miss it again, oh, I've only got 2 out of 4. But you got to do it in a dark room, because I can point this at anything with light. Like if I'm at 5 and 3 and I point it at my other monitor, it now says 6 and 4. So it's not really looking at the screen. It's not that smart. Some of the later games, like Duck Hunter and stuff, it actually was timing where the beam was, and you had to be hitting exactly on target. This one is just are you in the vicinity or are you not? So it's not that accurate. If I put it into the moving target, a little more difficult because you have to try to catch the target as it's moving around on the screen, and it's a little more difficult to hit that one, as you can see. Miss it 3 times in a row. I'm not a very good shot. So that's the shooting game. Oh, I got it once. I had the bloody thing right up against the screen. Anyway, that's the way that one works. You can leave it in that if you want to veg out. Just have the bouncing ball on your TV. There you go. Anyway, let's pull this thing apart. We'll turn on some lights. And incidentally, the interference, that's the lights that's causing it. Must be one of the fluorescent ballasts. I mean, I've got, right now there are 2 compact fluorescents running, a 42 watt and a little 13 watt over in the corner, and 2 on an electronic ballast, 8-foot 60 watt tubes on an electronic ballast. It's probably those that's causing this interference, because I haven't turned on the other studio lights yet, but as I turn them on, we might see some more interference come up as I'm turning on all the lights. Anyway, let's take this thing apart and see what's inside it. On the bottom there's a hatch here. What's that for? Does it run off batteries as well? Oh, look, you can put batteries in this thing. Would take 6, I'm going to say they're C-size batteries. There should be 6 C cells. So you can run it off batteries as well as off mains power. And you might be wondering, why did I pick something like this up? I mean, a game like this is kind of useless. Well, it is kind of useless, but you know, it's more for this nostalgia of the old technology. As fancy as video games are, they all started like this. This is the very beginning of video games. And I actually have an old computer, which I have to make up a power supply for it, and then I can show it off. But it's an old Texas Instruments TI-99-4A. I've still got it. In fact, I've got the expansion module for it, and don't have the disk drives anymore, but it just takes standard floppy drives. I do have the expansion module and the speech synthesizer and the RS-232 card for serial and parallel, and a modem. Not the, I don't have the acoustic, I think, no, maybe I do have the acoustic modem. I did have the acoustic modem, the 300 baud acoustic modem, but I also had a 1200 baud Packard Bell. That may not be around anymore. I may have disposed of that. I think it's probably the bottom that pops off on this. Nope, it's the top that pops off. Interesting. There's actually a fair bit inside this unit. There it is. It's got a ribbon cable that connects to the top. That looks like it's permanently attached. It does not come off. And there is the chip. One chip. Date code 723. I'm going to think that that's probably 1977. What's on this little circuit board? That would be the RF modulator, I think, right here. And unfortunately, I can't really take the top off that much further than this because it's got straps that are soldered down for shielding, and these are soldered right into the switches on the front. This early version of a ribbon cable. It's got a socketed chip, 3.579-545 color burst crystal, and basically there's 3 chips in this thing. 3 chips and a couple capacitors and a crystal. MPS 7600 is the main chip. MPS 76001 according to the board here. yeah, this thing's pretty simple. Controllers are just 2 wires. You can see it's a three pin connector, but there's only 2 wires because obviously it's just a variable resistor in the controller. Looks like these ones have got 3 wires connected to them. The hardwired cables are connectors. They've got 3 wires on them, but the other ones only have 2. At least 2 here. Ground and wiper probably. That's it. Not a heck of a lot to see in this one. Now I basically picked this thing up just to show it off to you guys because it was cheap, and I thought, okay, well it's such a unique piece. You don't see a lot of these around anymore. They are certainly collectible. So I grabbed it just to collect. It's certainly not going to be used for anything. I could probably convert this to a video out, and maybe that might be something to do while I'm in, because I think probably we've got power going in. One of these is going to be power. Yeah, B plus is here, video in is here. So if I take this connector that's on the back and I connect it up over to here instead of into there, disconnect it going into the modulator, connect it up to the coax here, that will convert that from a channel 3 output to a video out. Let's do that while I've got this unit apart and make it a little more useful as far as video quality goes. There's our sync. So there's our video signal. But as soon as I plug it in to anything, there's not enough signal. I'm going to have to put an amplifier or something in there because as soon as I plug it into a monitor that's got a 75 ohm termination resistor on it, it goes to 0. Watch. See? So it's a high impedance video signal, not a low impedance signal. So plugging it into a monitor kills it. After all that, trying a couple of different basic video buffer amplifier circuits, I can't get enough gain out of this unit. I'm going to have to design something else, maybe something using an FET, a little higher gain to get a video output. So I'm going to put it back the way it was. Just reconnect the video to the modulator and plug the RF line in. It works, as you can see. It outputs on channel 3 or channel 4, which is what it was designed for. Put the output back into the back, the RF output, and we'll put the unit back together as it is, because to say it is working, and I kind of like to keep it working, as it's a certainly a collector's item as it sits. I think a custom cable, or I shouldn't say a custom cable, an RF adapter, a coax to RCA adapter, so that I don't have to go through that antenna switch box, would certainly improve the signal getting to the TV. We'll try one of those momentarily, as I do have one. We'll hook it up directly with coax and see how much better with proper 75 ohm coaxial cable. See how much better it is on the screen, rather than going through that switch box, which is glossy at best. Let's try connecting it with a proper cable. Alright, that looks a little better. Yes, we used to be entertained for hours playing these ridiculous games, and it does get faster and faster. It becomes almost impossible to play these things. See what I mean? And then sometimes you could just be lucky and it would just stay in the same place more than once, but you get the picture. That's how it works. That was just the practice. The tennis was a 2-player game, and I think you could probably make it up to 4 players if I put the other 2 controllers on. I have the other 2 controllers. They don't look like they've ever been used. We'll plug the 3rd and 4th controller in just to see what happens when I select 4 players and how it operates. And then I'm going to go get the good old Pac-Man game, and we'll plug that one into this CRT monitor and see how that works. Okay, if I reset and I go to do all 4 players. Okay, here you go. You see, you have a 3rd and 4th. You have a 3rd and 4th player, so 4 people can play this game. And it will just get that much more difficult when you've got a 3rd and 4th player. Just to add some more confusion. You get the idea. Hockey, again, 4 players. Squash. Oh, I think this is probably only 2 players, this one. Yeah. Squash is only a 2-player game. Because, you know, squash is just a 2-player game. And, well, the shoot 'em up, it's just 1. Either shoot the bouncing square, or hit the flashing target that moves. I guess as soon as the other ones are plugged in, I think there's just the original. Oh, that's the original. So, yeah, so 2 or 4 players for tennis and for hockey. 2 players for squash, and practice, you can practice by yourself. That's pretty much it for this one. Now, if you stick around, I'm going to go get the other game, and we'll plug it into the video input on this little monitor, and we'll look at some of the games on that. And the game, of course, keeps playing until you hit 21, and when it gets up to 21 rounds, it stops. Then you have to start over. One thing I'll mention about these old games, the first one I had, as I was explaining earlier, was one that had 2 knobs on it, and it only had the tennis. It did not have practice, so it was always a 2-player game. Black and white, it had the tennis court, so it had that one. And the problem, we saw CRTs getting burned for the first time. I remember when I was in the business, we'd get someone that came in with their TV. This is early 1980s. Some of these games had been, you know, people got them in the mid to late 70s, early to mid, I guess, 70s, but they were quite popular before the likes of the Ataris came out. And I used to see TVs come in that had burn-in. They had this playing field burned into the tube on CRT sets. Black and white sets were real bad. People that had the old black and white TVs, a lot of times the games were used on older black and white sets because the earlier games were just black and white, and they'd come in with the screen burned. So that was a concern even way back then. Anyway, this is an old classic game, I say I didn't pay much for it, so it's just kind of cool, even though you're not going to see me playing this thing. But it's neat to have from a collector's perspective, because, well, this was what started the entire video game revolution. I'm going to go grab the other one, and we're going to hook it up, and I'll just run through a few of the games on the CRT. So this is the little Miss Pac-Man game on a CRT. I think my exposure's a little hot on my camera. Let's just set this up so it looks a little better on camera. All right, that's looking a little bit better. Let's you bugger. Oh, geez. That was a dumb move. Dope. Shouldn't have done that. I should have waited for them to come out, but at least I'll get a few of them before they go away. That's right, guys. Chase me that way, and let me go up here and finish the maze. So yeah, I already set the new high score. I don't think this game was played very much when whoever owned it. Ah. Okay, I guess I set the new high score in this game. Let's go to the next one. Pole position. Okay, that's that one. Oops. Oops. Okay, well, let's check out the next one here. Press the wrong button. I think that about does it for this one. I think that's all the games. Yep. So that's all the ones on this one. Figured I'd show those off on a CRT. Looks a little better than maybe the plasma. The plasma doesn't look too bad. The plasma I've got in here actually works pretty good for these old games, just because it's there's no real delay. It's a standard definition. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.